Hi everyone, and welcome back to part 2 of working on my pitbull drawing in Copic markers. And so as you can see, the main dog is pretty much done, and so I thought I'd do a little bit of cast shadow and a little bit of extra detail. So going to be using the same pens as before, and that's really all I need to tell you, so off we go. And just to say, the shadow from the dog is actually directly underneath it, and when I took the photo, the shadow from the walker behind, there goes my phone, the person walking the dog or being dragged along by the dog was merging in with the dog's shadow, so I've just got to work out whose shadow is who. And for the shadow, I'm not going to be using too many greys. I'm probably going to use, so she's zooming in on the shadow, probably going to use the E50. Yeah, definitely going to use the E50. Then it's going to be C1, probably W5, and a little bit of E70. So off we go. Now actually on closer inspection I realised that I can actually put the BV23 that we used earlier, so that can also go into there. So she's desperately looking for it. I just moved all my pens as well. There we go, BV23. And I think we went BV11, didn't we? Yeah, no, it's going to be BV0000. Right, now off we go. So what I've done is I've used the E50 just to map out a rough area where the sand is, and looking at the photo that I'm working from, I'm actually just going to bring up another photo. It actually looks like the dog's shadow only goes not even a quarter way to the body, so then the rest of the shadow that I was following is the human behind. In fact, when looking at the run cycle of the dog, yeah, the shadow is literally from here to here. So this whole area here hasn't got a cast shadow. So that's what I've got to map in. Once again, this is why following your reference photo as tight as you can be extremely beneficial. Okay, so now we're coming in with the BV23, which is quite a heavy colour. And what I'll do is I'll push it back with the BV0000 and use the E50 and probably the W1 to soften it out and make it less hard, because it is going to look hard at first. Now, because I've left gaps in the BV23, you'll see the other colours blend into it. So by going over with the lighter colours, that's completely softened out the harshness. And there's a couple of areas I'm just going to touch up, but I'm going to use C grade pens to do the touch up, because even though it's a shadow, there's more depth and tonal layers within the shadow, so it's not just one colour. There's light parts to the shadow, there's dark parts. Depending on the ground underneath's form will depend on the depth of the shadow. So just cleaning up this little bit of the drawing. Normally I would do the actual pencil work a lot lighter, but since I was using, well, especially when using light Copics, I prefer to keep everything very light. But I don't mind having slightly darker marks where the actual shadows are going to be. Just over here, I'm going to bring the back leg slightly more out. It's just those back feet were making perfect sense, so hopefully that's straightened that out a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, I'm happier with that. I wasn't happy with the back legs, but now I've given them a little bit of definition, and I'll put a drop of C0 just going across into that white to help define that bit. And then just on the ground, just going to mark in a couple of pebbles, just so that some of the spots and the dots have a meaning to them, and it's not just random marks. There's a bit just on the front claw that I'm just double checking. Yeah, I've made a slight mess up here. This dog did have huge dew claws. I mean, seriously big. I'm not over exaggerating how big they were. Now, I've made a slight mistake that I've got too much colour down here. So, this is where that lovely thing called a colourless blender comes in. So she desperately looking for it. Oh, where are you? Here, boy. Oh, there it is. Making a run for freedom. This one I actually have got refills for because it's one of the pens that I use the most. So I've released the pressure, and I'm just going to reshape this bit here. I don't mind a little bit of colour, but I don't want tons. I'm not just concentrating on that area, I'm just taking it slightly up. In fact, there's a quite handy mark there. Right. Now I'm going to go give that a few seconds to dry off because I've quite saturated that. And I'm probably going to use a C1 because there's a little bit of detail just hidden in here that I didn't spot. And because that blend is still slightly wet, that works to my advantage. So when you step away from a drawing and then you look at it again, you will see bits that suddenly think, oh, that needs a bit more colour. And that's a wonderful thing about Copics, is that because you can reactivate them, you've got that opportunity to put that colour in where you need it. It's not set in stone. I mean, mediums like Inktense pencils, I think it is, once they're on the paper, that's it. You can't really peel off a layer because of the type of ink that it is. But with alcohol markers, you can at least peel back a certain amount of them And it just gives you that little bit of time to make any amendments. So that dew claw should just be there. So I can just remap that out with the pencil and put in a couple of lines of detail. I'm still going to use that C1 just to carry that shadow up a bit into the body and just define the upper arm a bit more, because I don't feel there's enough shadow around the chest. These are very deep, well, they can be very deep chested dogs with the muscles, and I don't want to not have that in there, because that's an important trait of the dog. I'm just going to go back with the, let's see, if that was C1, I want C0. And there we are, that's just given the dog a little bit more definition, because I just felt that the muscles around that area weren't as defined as they actually are. So I'm feeling a bit happier with that now. So just adding in a little bit more texture into the ground. Right, so I think that is actually going to be it for this drawing. So that is a pitbull type dog with Copic markers, and in total that's taken me over probably 2 hours to get done. But with Copics, the nice thing is, as I say, you can go back and rework, you can play around with them, you've got the flexibility, as long as you don't go too dark to start with and you start with your lightest layers and build each one up. And you can have great fun with this. There's no point in rushing either. And I just realised the tail's slightly wonky. Can't have a dog with a wonky tail. But you can take your time, as much time as you want with the drawing and the colouring. It's all up to you because it's going to be your interpretation. So some fur on there because there was a bit of fluff on the tail. And for a short dog it did have a slightly fluffy bum. Slightly darker pencil line under there. And slightly darker pencil line there. There we go. So this drawing, what's going to happen with it? I'll probably just get stuck in a portfolio somewhere. If I do get requests for pitbulls, what I'll do is I'll take a photo, so I've got a photo with me, and if someone says, oh, I've got a pitbull, can you draw them, then I've got that as a reference. I can turn around and say, well, this is what I've done with pitbulls. Is this any good? And then the customer can decide from that. So I hope this has helped inspire you to go out, pick up a pencil, find some paper. A brown paper bag will do. You can draw brilliantly on a brown paper bag with pens, believe me. Even a napkin. When you're waiting for your dinner at a restaurant and you're bored stiff, if they got a paper cover on the table, grab a pen and have a bit of fun. But yeah, please get creative, use your imagination, find something that you enjoy drawing and be inspired to have a go. So till next time, please enjoy, all the best and happy drawing.